This is going to be a very, very, very personal video for me to film, and I never film stuff that's personal, but I'm teaching myself that vulnerability is not the end of the world. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Rua. I'm sniffling because I always sniffle when I put on lashes or do anything around my eyes, and this time it decided not to stop. But currently on Snapchat, as you've read from the title of this video, this is gonna be how I lost, I don't know what I'm gonna title it, but this is a weight loss video. This is how I lost weight. The whole journey was crazy, and I really did try to document everything, but documenting stuff is really it's not my stronghold. I do have like a food diaries because that's one thing I was consistent in, because who doesn't love taking photos of their food even if it doesn't look appealing? Me. I will take photos of food anytime. So I will like try to update that, upload that, and just like do a talk through, like a voiceover, and show you why I ate certain things and how I subbed things for other things. But this is not about the diet. This is just a weight loss journey. I'm gonna go through my stuff because I left everything on Snapchat because, you know, it keeps everything. So wow, I'm really trying to like go back, like real far back to like the old photos. It's traumatizing for me. It really is, because I remember the mindset I was in during that time, and I let's just talk about it. All right, so basically, well, according to Snapchat, I probably did start my weight loss earlier, but I was terrified of like, I was so self-conscious. I still do have, but like I was really dealing with body dysmorphia back then, and just looking in the mirror made me miserable. Like I hated looking in the mirror. I hated seeing myself. I hated what I genuinely, like a lot of times I didn't recognize who I was in the mirror. Like I couldn't stand it. I could not. I just remember the feeling like when I was taking those photos, and I was like, if anything, you have to get up and take these photos because you're gonna look back one day, you're gonna be happy. And I'm so appreciative for all the YouTubers and all the women and men who put themselves out there and show how they lost weight, why they lost weight, what held them back, and what helped them stay motivated. Because if it weren't for those videos, to be honest, I wouldn't think it was possible. I was like for a long time wondering why it was so difficult for me to lose weight, and the truth is, it wasn't necessarily that one particular diet doesn't work or does work, or it's excellent or not excellent. It's really just the mindset. After evaluating my weight loss for the last like 7 or 8 months, I realized it was never really the diet that I was on. You can most likely lose weight on almost any diet, whether it's keto, intermittent fasting, cutting out certain like nutrients like carbohydrates or fats, or like there's just so many diets out there. It would probably work for you. It depends on the type of person you are and the type of schedule you have, and what you're willing to try and put yourself through, and what you're not willing to try and put yourself through. Because weight loss in all reality is just your mindset. It's your mind that makes you form those habits. It's your experiences, whatever triggers you, like whatever has caused whatever issues that are like the stepping stool for your weight gain, or just having eating like or binging issues. It's your mind. It's whatever created that mindset that you're in right now, or that you were in, that really did push you to either gain weight or just not control your diet. And that's the tea. That's the tea, sis. But honestly, even when I started losing weight, okay, let me take it all the way back. I have been trying to lose weight ever since I was in, I think, 7th grade. I started to realize in 5th grade that I was gaining weight. Like that's also, we need to stop making little girls self-conscious about weight that young. Like 10 years old, really? Everyone had it. Like even growing up, I don't even think it has to do with an African household, but like everyone would comment about my weight. Like, oh, she's a fat one. Like little boys would say so rude and like mean and disrespectful stuff to me. And it was like really never that deep. Like, but society said it's okay. It's okay to talk about a woman's body. It's okay. Even when I wasn't overweight or wasn't fat, like I was naturally always a taller person. And you know, boys don't hit a growth spurt until like what, middle or ending of middle and high school. So I was naturally always taller than almost all the guys in my class, like for the longest time. And then like I have wide set shoulders. So even in elementary school, I wasn't really overweight, but I would still hear those comments like, can we dead that? That is so like debilitating to girls. Like, it is really just, it shouldn't exist. Like, those kind of things, like saying that to little girls, it's very traumatic, and people don't realize that they're doing it and they don't care. Like, a lot of mothers, we learned this in like my family studies class, but a lot of mothers will be like, oh sweetie, don't eat that, that's not good for you, but they'll let their sons eat the same thing. Or like they'll be like, oh, are you sure you want to have that, like it's gonna make you gain weight, or don't you think you've had enough on your plate? And in reality, like, that's a normal amount of food to eat. Like, that's not a bad thing. But because she's a girl and you want her to have this ideal body type, you comment constantly, and creating that like system of like second guessing yourself as a girl, or like checking yourself, or always being conscious about what you're putting in your body, or always thinking about what you're eating. It is so toxic, because at some point you break. You're a human being, and if you obsess over stuff like calories or what you're eating, eventually like it can lead to a binge eating disorder, or it can lead to anorexia. And people don't think to like close their mouths, but they will never tell that to a guy. They will never be like, hey, you've had enough to eat, like don't eat that. Why do we say that to women? It's so annoying. But yeah. Yeah, my weight gain really did start in 6th grade. I didn't realize that it started. Also, I wasn't conscious about any mental anything. Like, I didn't know. I just knew I was fat. Like, that's all I would hear from my parents, from people around me. Like, oh, she's a fat one. Like, oh, she's fat. Don't you think you shouldn't eat that? You're fat. Like, I would always hear those comments, and it's like, why did they ever say that to me? Like, I get it. Like, African parents are very strict and blunt. Like, they'll tell you how it is. But at the same time, in my situation, like growing up, even like with my weight gain, I remember trying so hard in 6th and 7th grade to lose weight, because I would see all these girls who had like, is it called baby fat? Like, they were never really fat. They were just like a little bit thicker, like chubby. Is that the word for it? And they would like get to middle school and they all lost it over the summer. And I was like, what the heck? Why did everyone lose weight but me? Why can I lose weight? And the more I concentrated and the more I fixated on this idea of losing weight, even though back then, still looking back, for my age, I wasn't even overweight. But in my mind, I constantly kept fixating it over the summer, and just being home, having nothing to do, I just started binging. And food was like literally a comfort for me. It was like I had so much going on at home. Like, it was the best escape. It's the only thing that brought me happiness. And then it started to make me feel sick, but I couldn't stop. Like, once you start, I don't know how to explain binge eating to someone who has self-control over food and doesn't rely on it for an emotional relief or to escape like bad experiences. But like, it is literally a drug. Like, there's certain things in your food, especially sugar, that releases like serotonin and dopamine or whatever. It's like a good feeling, an amazing feeling. Like, people, it's an addiction. I don't know how else to explain it. It's food. It's addictive, especially with like American foods. What I've realized is that they're so high in sugar. Like, I went back to Nigeria with my family a while ago, and that was like, I didn't try to lose weight. That was the first time in my life. I think it was 7th grade going on to 8th grade. That 7th grade summer, we went back to Nigeria. I lost 6 or 7 pounds, and I ate whatever I wanted. Like, I wasn't cautiously trying to lose weight. For breakfast, I would go to like the little shop across the street from our compound, and I would go and eat like biscuits. I would have sugary tea. The bakery was down the street, so our neighbors would like bring us bread like every freaking day. And Nigerian bread, if you know, Nigerian bread is sweet. It's not like American bread. Most of the times Nigeria doesn't really have like normal like whole wheat and all this stuff. We don't do that. We do baked fresh bread, like you tear it apart. It is so warm. It's so good. I can only compare it to like Hawaiian, American Hawaiian bread. That bread that people, that one. That's the one. It's really good. So yeah, I had that every single day. I ate traditional food. Traditional food is not the best. It's not healthy. It's high in cholesterol and high in fatty acids. It's just really high in a lot of things that it's not necessarily sweet like American food, but it has a lot of stuff that's not good for you. But I ate that stuff every day, and I still lost weight. Like, in 1 month, I was there for like 1 month and a couple of days. I lost like 7 pounds, and I was like, and I came to the US, within a week I gained 10 pounds. And that's when that set in, I almost like lost it. I was like, I'm hopeless. Like, how did I lose weight? And then like now it's all coming back. And back then I was like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, the regular food I ate was pretty healthy. It was when I had those binge episodes, like I blacked out completely and I just ate whatever was in sight. I remember at some point we didn't have like sugary snacks in my house. And the first conscious thought I had was like, oh my god, I need to like bake something, I need to fry something. I would always find something really horrible for my body to eat. Like if there wasn't like physical snacks, I became a cereal baker. Like anytime I was stressed out or anything, I would start baking. I would make pancakes for like dinner. I would make so many bad things, and my parents were focused on other things, so they didn't really check. They didn't really, you know how like immigrant parents are, they don't, I don't know, they don't like control. I know some parents do control their kids eating, but my parents, like that was the one thing, they controlled and micromanaged everything else in my life. But the eating, they only made comments about it. They really didn't like deprive us of food. So like I kind of wish they had balanced out their strictness in a way, but it is what it is. You really can't control what you can't control, you know. And like I guess middle school, like after we came back from that trip, I looked in the mirror for the first time, for real. Like the house that we were staying in really didn't have mirrors. Like I could see myself, I could see my face was like smaller, but it didn't really occur to me that I had lost weight until I came to the US and weighed myself, and I was like way lighter than I had ever, because for me that was like a milestone. I couldn't even lose 1 pound. Every time I tried to lose weight, I would fixate on I didn't even know about counting calories, baby. I would just try to like, it was very unhealthy. I would try to starve myself. I would try like so many things, but if you know, with starving yourself and being a binge eater, it only goes downhill. It never works out. But your brain in the moment is like, oh my god, we can stop eating now. We got this. Self-control, we got it. Everyone else has self-control. Everyone's body is perfect. They can do it. They can control the food they eat. So of course I can do it. So I was just like, I even went to the dollar store this one time and bought like 8 packs of gum. And I was like, I'm gonna eat gum for the next 2 weeks, and I'm gonna be so skinny. And everyone is gonna be like, oh my gosh, she's hot. Like, how does she get skinny? Like, I was a kid. Like, I really didn't know. That's not how weight works. And I was also very impatient because I wanted so bad to be perfect. I also had like very like obsessive tendencies growing up, like with my grades and just things around me, because I had so much responsibility as a kid. So I always wanted things to be perfect, and like my weight and eating was the one thing I just couldn't grasp. So I convinced myself it was impossible to lose weight. And after trying so many times for so many like years, like past middle school, 8th grade was one of the most traumatic years. Everyone was getting their like photos done for graduation. Everyone was like looking good, getting their hair done, and I accepted that I was ugly. Like I couldn't stand to look at myself. Like my situation wasn't helping. That day, I think I've like really cried on both of my graduations, but that day was so bad for me. I just couldn't stand to exist. Like honestly, worst day, one of the worst days of my life. So I was just like, all right, I can't lose weight. And I also did this thing where I don't want to like compare myself, but I've realized this, like I've been watching Amber Reed's videos a lot. And I don't know, I'm not saying that this is why anything, I'm not talking about anyone's weight or body, but it's something I would do. Like when she tried I resonated so much. I didn't even know she did these things. I thought people were like, she's just a troll. But like a lot of the things she says are very like, I don't know, it resonates with me, because I would do this when I was younger. Like I would try so many different diets. I tried water fasting. I tried so much stuff, I can't even remember. But I would be like, oh my god, I failed at this diet. Next day, oh, we failed. So I would just like go right back into binge eating. And every single time I tried and failed a diet, I would go harder with the binge eating. Like I couldn't control myself. I genuinely couldn't. And it was bad because like I was in a situation where I couldn't control how much I was eating. And then I would ask my parents like, hey, can you buy healthier stuff? And they would be like, what are you talking about? You don't think, you know how like immigrant parents are, they think like you're not appreciative of stuff. But I was like, no, it's just that the reason why I lost a lot of weight in Nigeria compared to the US, even though I was eating way worse in Nigeria, is because it's not a sedentary lifestyle. There's always something going on. Like family would come in, neighbors would come in, we talked, we walked around, we went out, we hung out like all day. So that was just like physical activity, like way more physical activity than I got here in the US, just being at home and like going to school and coming back home and playing outside sometimes. Like in no comparison to like Nigeria, there was always something to do. Even when you were at home, you weren't really like sitting down watching TV. You were doing stuff with other people around you, and it's just like a community setting, so you always had something to do. And that's why I think like in the US it was so hard to lose weight. And my parents were like, they interpreted me saying stuff like that as like, oh my gosh, she's turning You know, if you know, you know, they'll be like, she's turning American, she doesn't like our food, da, 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 so you don't want us to buy you junk food ever. Like, they're like, if you can't eat food at home, like, go get your money and buy something else. And it was just like, really? I just want to be healthy. Like, I loved, genuinely as a kid, I'm not one of those kids who hated salads. I love salads. I loved healthy stuff. Like, I always loved veggies. My siblings hated vegetables. They're all boys, so it doesn't really matter for them. Like, they hated vegetables, and they just, like, they hated all that stuff. I loved broccoli. I loved string beans. I loved salad. I loved greens growing up. And eating a balanced diet like that wasn't a problem. It's when it came to the juices and sugars and snacks. We would get like $1 or $2, and every time, we rarely did get pocket money, but anytime like I did get money, I remember saving up this like piggy bank jar, and I'd fill it up with all the coins I got from my parents, and I just wanted to go to the store and buy anything like sugary, and I would stuff my face. Like the little tasty cake boxes, I would eat that in one sitting. Every single snack I ever bought from the dollar store or from Giant, I would eat all that food in like 3 seconds. Like, I kid you not, I could not leave stuff alone until the next day. Yeah, so back to like the portions were huge growing up, and it was just never a good vibe. And yeah, just a lot of things. Like, if I wanted to like eat healthier, I would literally have to just like eat less food, and that was never an option because, again, I had binge eating tendencies. So I just didn't know self-control in that sense, and I just didn't know how to stop eating. Like, when I was satiated, I would keep going, and I felt so hard. You know when you overeat and you just feel sick, like you can't move? I wouldn't stop eating. Like, I kept going and going and going. And then at some point, I know this is sick and this sounds messed up, but that's the reality of dealing with something that's like not normal. I would almost look for the bad feeling after. Like, I remember feeling so bad, and I would just start overeating so I could get that bad feeling, like almost like a punishment for overeating in the first place. So it was kind of like full circle, horrible full circle, so full circle moment where I would overeat, knowing that I'll feel sick after, and waiting for that sick feeling after when I overate. I don't understand. Like, I can't explain. Looking back, it's really crazy that I did that, but like, that's where my mind was. I was very self-deprecating. So I would be like, I don't deserve like happiness. I don't deserve a healthy body. And and also growing up, I was very mature. So I was very critical of myself like early on, and I was self-aware that I was being critical and I was being really harsh on myself, but I just didn't know how to stop. Especially when I had strict parents, so like getting back comments from their end, I would almost internalize it, and then my conscious became like a very critical, like loud, authoritative voice in my head that would always put me down no matter what I did. Like, even when I was making healthier choices and I was eating less, unlike on the normal days, I would be like, what's the point? Like, tomorrow you're gonna go back and you're gonna eat all this food like you don't like, or you're gonna overeat so you're sick, and then you're just gonna feel horrible about yourself. So it's a very like vicious cycle. And then I don't know, and then like high school, like I'm trying to give you guys like a track line. Hopefully I can cut this down to make more sense. But then high school I completely just lost control. I think from 8th grade summer to high school, every single summer I would weigh myself and I would be almost 10 pounds more. So I was literally gaining 10 pounds every year, and I just didn't know how to control it. And mind you, I would lose weight because I obviously, like, I don't know if this is obvious, but like I wouldn't binge all the time. Like, I had healthier moments. Like in high school when I joined lacrosse and stuff, I think that was one of the most positive things that happened to me, because I was allowed to finally like join a club. I wanted to join clubs for so long, but I wasn't allowed to. And I was just so glad to be like out of the house, like in a bad like environment. And when I was like doing lacrosse, I loved it so much. It's also weird, like people have this perception of like people who are more overweight or like thicker people, I guess. I don't know how, I don't want to say something offensive, but like people always have this like really mean like outlook on like people who like just don't fit societal standards. Like they always think you're lazy, you're groggy, like you're just a fat fuck sitting on the couch, like. And it's really mean how people think. I hate that mentality, because it's not always true. And people like, I don't know, like I feel like it's more acceptable to turn to like weed or whatever than it is to like be like binge eat. Like it's a relief. Eating is a sense of relief. Like smoking for people is a sense of relief. I don't know why society like just almost like penalizes people for something that society, you know what I mean? It's society. It it creates these types of patterns and stuff in people. So I guess I can't really say it's not your, I'm not blaming society completely, because yeah, it is our individual faults that we develop bad habits. But at the same time, isn't it, it's kind of like ironic that society that creates those behaviors in people will turn on those people, like in a lot of things too, like the hyper sexualized society will turn on people who get pregnant early. It's just like, pick a struggle. Anyway, yeah, so like I would gain 10 pounds every single year, and then in middle school I'm not in high school, I just lost control. I don't know what to say. Even then, like I was trying. Oh yeah, I did play lacrosse. Lacrosse was the time where I lost weight. It's one of those things, again, like the two moments in my life without trying was when I went back home to Nigeria and I lost weight without trying. And then like when I was playing lacrosse, obviously it's physical activity. We have to do so, and I love exercise. I love exercise. Like I loved balanced diets. I love like normal food, but it's just like people don't see that perspective when you're overweight. They just see and then it's so cruel how if someone who's like trying to lose weight or someone who's perceived as overweight is eating healthy, people around them get offended. Like, why are you eating a salad? Why are you eating leaves? Like, why are you going to the gym? Like, that gym culture pisses me off so much. Like, you tell people to lose weight and stuff, and then they go to the gym and they eat healthy and they're trying to balance out their life, and you criticize them for it. Like, you literally attack them for it. And I'm like, how does that make any type of sense? Like, how are you going to tell someone to do something that's better for them? And again, people who say like really judgmental and rude stuff, they never mean it with good intent. It's always with ill intent. They don't mean it because they care about your well-being. They don't say those things. Like, there's a certain way you can tell someone like, hey, you need to like be healthier, if you mean it in a good way. Like, what's it called? Fat shaming, it doesn't work. Bullying kind of did work in high school, but fat shaming really does not work. People aren't receptive to ill will. Like, literally, if someone attacks you and bashes you and they don't know what you're going through, all you're gonna do is turn back to that bad habit and keep going. Like, it's not gonna stop you from like doing what you were already doing before. So I don't think people realize, like, you can't just be rude and disrespectful and think people are gonna change because you decided you wanted to say something rude. Anyway, but yeah, I genuinely loved running. I loved running and like exercising was such a relief for me. It felt so amazing. I don't know, I think it's maybe because you get serotonin. What do you get when you exercise? Like, you hate it in the moment, but then right after it feels good. I've always loved running because we used to play soccer and stuff in the field when I was younger. Like, those things when I was like from 4th and 3rd grade that I really enjoyed, like, it all came full circle when I was playing like lacrosse. I loved, like, even the pain and the, like, I don't know, the excitement of being in that atmosphere was so positive. Even though there are like some bad parts about the sports, I didn't care. I just loved being on the field. I love like learning like a new skill, and like just playing a sport was so fun to me. So like during that time, I think I lost about 8 or 9 pounds. I want to just cap it and say 10 pounds. So I lost like 10 pounds during that time. And I didn't even know, because I didn't like weigh myself that often. But like I knew what I weighed before and I weighed after, and I was like, ooh, we lost 10 pounds. This is positive. Like, this is great. Oh, and also when I realized something when I was in more of a social setting, it's very much your mentality. When I was in a social setting, like a supportive setting, like lacrosse, you just have to depend on other teammates and stuff. Like, even though you're not going to be best friends with them. I was in acquaintances with like most of the people on that team, but I was around my friends. Like, we played lacrosse together, and it created like a positive routine in my head. Like, I knew I could get up, go to school, take these horrible, annoying AP classes, and then right after we could play lacrosse and like hang out and have fun. And for me, that was like the only time I was allowed to hang out, because again, strict parents. So like when I had that positive like rapport in my head, is that a word? Rapport? When I created that positive like thought in my head from being around people that made me happy, when I would go home, I felt so, like, I didn't need to eat. I didn't need to binge eat. Even when I felt bad at home, binge eating I wouldn't turn to binge eating. I would like play with makeup or something, or watch YouTube videos to pass time. Like, I never, like, during lacrosse, I don't know, it created such a healthy mindset. And then like on the field, like we would even then we went and got junk food and stuff, and I still didn't like gain weight. I lost weight. So it's definitely your mentality. Like, we would go to Chick-fil-A down the street once in a while to get food. So yeah, I'm very surprised, because like another thing about my weight gain, I never really, my family was like never really like a junk food person. Like, yeah, there were times where we would go to a McDonald's every Sunday when we first came to the US, but that wasn't when I gained weight. Like, I gained weight when my mental changed, and then when I started eating sugar. Like, everyone has their like tick for why they gain weight, or just like all around like triggers, I guess. But mine was sugar. I loved sugar so much because it felt so good in the moment, and I right after it felt bad. So don't know how all that worked for me. It didn't. But yeah, so as far as these photos, I didn't take photos at my largest weight. I will say that now. I've had worse moments. Let me tell you that. I can't wait to do the food diary videos because I love the food that I cook when I lost weight. I also had this idea that people who are healthier didn't enjoy their food because they don't get to, like, you know what I mean? They don't get, in my head I made up they always have to eat like raw, healthy stuff. That's definitely not the case, obviously. But my brain, I came up with every single excuse not to freaking do the damn thing, but it is what it is. I'm trying to find photos. I'll probably just put random ones here to just show you guys what I was going through mentally. Also, like, you know how, like, well, people with strict parents like usually have their like rebellious phase while they're at home. I'm breathing a lot because my nose is generally stuffed and I don't know what's going on. So 2019, I guess, is when I really started to like lose weight. So I was living on campus. I hate these photos. I was living on campus, and it was free housing for receptionists. It was literally the best job ever. And we got to just basically like you get your own room, you share a bathroom with another person, you get a living room and everything completely free. And my parents were like, "You're not gonna take that, are you?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna take it." It wasn't even that long, and I didn't even stay the full time. I came back because of like mental health issues, but like I did come back home. But during the time that I was there, let me tell you, it was the first time in my life I was away from my like, not the phone dropping, from my like toxic environment. And I didn't realize how much like control over myself I had. There's this thing I've heard that like, if you ever feel like you lack self-control, give yourself little things you already know subconsciously you have control over, but make it seem like, yeah, I did that. Like, yeah, I can do this. Like, yeah, I can prep this. I can do this. Like, I can control my day. I can create a schedule. That shows that I have control over my life. And in general, if you create that mindset, like, you can control more things that you think you can control. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, living on campus, I was on my shit. The thing that made me realize was when I was back home before I moved on campus, I stepped on the scale. Oh, and that scale was inaccurate. I was definitely more than I saw. And I was like so close. On the scale, it showed that I was close to 200. And I remember watching, I think my 600-pound life before that. I was watching like clips of it on YouTube. And I was like, I was very much dramatic, but again, I very much obsessed over my body and my weight, but that I had no control. I thought I had no control over. I convinced myself I had no control over in order to deal with how I looked and not liking how I looked. But yeah, I looked on that scale. I remember exactly how I felt, and I almost like, I was literally tearing up. And I'm not a very like outwardly emotional person, but that day I was in a bad mood for almost that whole week. I just looked at the scale and I was like, wow. We're literally almost 200. If I had seen the actual number, that scale was inaccurate. It was like 6 or 7 pounds more maybe. It could have been 10 pounds off. It was a broken scale. So yeah, I definitely did way more than I was seeing on the number. But in my head, like based on what I saw, I was like, if I reach 200, like my life is over. I'm very dramatic. Very dramatic about certain things. It's also really the duality of having an obsession with the perfect body and having something that's completely far from a perfect body. That's just mind games. That's really messed up. I don't know why I did that to myself. Like, I really didn't think I could wear anything. I didn't think I could go out. Oh yeah, back to the thing I said, like most like kids with strict parents, like they have their little rebellious things, like they sneak out the window and go out and party and blah blah blah. One, like when I was invited to things, I never want to go out. Like I was almost glad I had strict parents because I looked at my body and I hated it. I was like, I can't go out. I can't wear like stuff like everyone else. One, I wasn't allowed to own those clothes, so there was no access to it. But even then, I could like finesse to like, you know what I mean, like dress trendy. I didn't even try because I hated how I looked. So I was like, I was almost relieved at a lot of points in my life where I was like, oh, you know, I have strict parents. I can't go. Because I knew I couldn't stand social settings. I was so timid to be around anyone. I was very much afraid to be like even looked at as attractive. Like I wanted to hide so bad all the time, and it's just I can't believe I thought like that. It's very debilitating. It's very much toxic, creates a toxic cycle. But back to going on, I very much go off tangents if you realize, but yeah, when I went back on campus, when I got, not went back, but when I was allowed to go on campus for this summer job, I told myself like, no, we literally cannot go. I think I said I can't go into, I can't be 20, I can't pass the age of 21 and be unhealthy. Like, my goal was just to feel better mentally. And like, of course, majority of what you put into your body is going to control how you feel about yourself. It's a cycle. Yeah, so I was like, I have to do something. And then on campus, I was in, the Wi-Fi was free. There was no rent. It was free. All I had to do was worry about buying my groceries, and the job was so easy. All you had to do is sit there, like give some people some keys. It was like kind of, the housing turned into like a hotel for like sports and stuff that played. So I would just give them their keys. Like, the desk was easy. I just did my summer class online. I got all the study time I needed. No noise from my family. It was just like the nicest thing ever. And the best part, I had control over what I ate. I didn't have any distractions, because me, I'm a very much like, don't go into people's personal space. So even though my roommates did have like unhealthy stuff in their freezer, I will never like just like, especially if I don't know you like that, I will not just touch your stuff. And plus they most of them went out to eat every day and bought food. So there was really not that much junk in the fridge. I bought my healthy stuff. I brought my fruits. I used this weight loss app. I'll try to show you guys maybe in another video how I counted my calories and to show you what I did. But this is the Lose It app. I used it to track my calories. Originally, I think my first thing was like 1400. So every time you do lose, like, you reach a mark, you tell the app what your goal is, and when you reach that mark, you continue to just like get the opportunity to, well, not get the opportunity, because it kind of sucks to have to continue to decrease your calorie. But once you get to the goal weight, the app doesn't make you do that, and obviously you can change it. You have autonomy over what happens on the app. So yeah, counting calories the first day, I couldn't do it. It's not one of those things, you know, those people who say online, I've seen so many videos of people like, I was sick, I was tired of what I looked like, I was tired of feeling groggy and I hating my body, so I just got up one day and I did it. I was like, yeah, I can do this. Oh yeah. No, it's definitely not. It was very difficult. First day, I did horrible. I could not understand how someone could eat so little. Again, probably a normal amount of food, but being someone who binge eats, it was abstract to me. I thought like, okay, I failed. I can't do this. So I stopped trying. And I was like, no. And then this is why I'm making this video mainly, because I saw like 2 or 3 videos from people who were in the exact same position as me, who described exactly what I was feeling in the moment about like losing weight, and they lost it. And I was like, no, there's something to this. Like, if they can lose weight after failing once, I can do it. So I had to train my mental, like I had to change my mentality, because they would say stuff like, okay, I failed this day, I ate out with friends, I lost control when I was out, like I couldn't stop eating, but the next day I didn't beat myself up about it. That's one thing you have to remember when you're losing weight. Like, you can't fixate on the bad. Like, yeah, it is good to like keep yourself in check, but again, that toxic mentality comes in where you constantly fixate on that failure you have. A failure is a failure for a reason. Like, you're supposed to learn from it. But like, if you fixate on like, oh, I overate, or I ate sugar and ice cream and all this stuff today, you will never lose weight. Like, you will be stuck in that bad headspace. So I just had to learn, and I'm so glad for those videos. That's why I'm so appreciative of people who share their stories. Like, I know this is not deep to everyone, but like, to me, it's very much heartfelt, because without those things, like, I don't think I could have lost weight. Like, I would see those videos and the girls would be like, look at what I look like before. Please remember, like, you cannot be stuck on this photo of yourself. If you know you don't want to look like this forever, go ahead and change it. Like, look at her, remember what she is. That's why I was so glad they made those videos, because that's what motivated me to take the weight loss things. And I'm very obsessive again, and what I see myself as a lot of times is not very accurate. So even when I was losing weight, I would convince myself that I wasn't losing weight, and I was. And I just had to look at the old photos and be like, okay, yeah, I have lost weight. So I would recommend taking weight loss photos just for yourself, not for anyone else to see. It's not their business. It's for you, baby girl. So yeah, I would take the photos and I would be like, oh my God, I did lose weight. What's wrong with me? And that would help me like check myself, because my mental was really messed up. still kind of is, but whatever. Like I was training myself basically, and it's a journey. You have to remember it's a journey. It's not gonna happen overnight. Like I would always think like weight loss is an overnight thing. Like I have to lose it in 1 week or 2 weeks. I genuinely, growing up, I did not know how calorie deficit, like nutrients worked. I just thought people woke up one day, ate a little bit better, and then literally next week they lost like 10 or 15 pounds. Like I thought that's how it worked. The lack of information is the lack of information for me. But yeah, I just tried like to like eat a lot healthier, and I try not to like fixate or restrict myself. Another good thing about counting calories is that you can also eat junk food. It's not one of those limiting things. And I wasn't like, oh, I did become a junk food person because of college, because I would just go to like, on my way back from my college job, like at night I would go straight to McDonald's. I didn't even like it. I would just eat because it was there. And then like I would get free food from the places near me. Every time they offered, I would take it. I would just eat and eat and eat, and I was never ever like hungry. I always remember feeling full, but my brain, it became such a routine, I would just overeat. But like when I was at that college job thing, I had control. I was like, no, we're not gonna be this ultra healthy, better holistic type person. We're gonna buy like snacks, but we're gonna buy better snacks. Aldi is your best friend. Like if you have an Aldi by you, they're so cheap, so affordable, best college student food. I would go in there. I also couldn't meal prep. Meal prep is another weight loss diet type thing I tried before. Never worked for me because my mind was in there. And also like always, I want to be creative with my food on a daily basis. So again, tailor your weight loss and your diets to your body. People will say, oh, this diet doesn't work. Diets work. It's just depending on how much you're willing to put in and what type of diet fits your lifestyle. That's the tea. That's the tea, sis. Diets work. They work. You're just not willing. Like that's what I did. Like I tried so many diets. I was like, they don't work. These people lied to me. Like, no, they work, baby girl. You're just not ready to give up your addiction to food, and it's very hard for people, and I understand that. So yeah, during I'm trying to remember what I did. So I would buy like these 90 calorie brownie bars. I would buy like that's where my obsession with granola bars, to be honest, started. Granola bars, trail mix. I would buy like fish and seafood at Aldi is really cheap, and I love seafood. Oh, I'm so happy seafood is healthy because I love seafood. There's so many options with seafood, like cod, tilapia, fillet. You could do so many things with it. And Aldi has so many options for seafood, so I was obsessed. Broccoli, love broccoli. String beans, seaweed, love it. Cauliflower rice, one of those popular healthy people things that I don't like. Oatmeal, disgusting, hate it. Like I like the oatmeal when it's made with brown sugar and stuff, but even then I get sick of it. It's one of those healthy people things that everyone does and I don't like. I would make healthy burgers. I would make wraps. So many options. I also don't like limiting for me, this is how I was able to lose weight. I didn't limit myself to one specific space of eating. Like red meats in general, I hate red meats. Like I don't hate it, but I wouldn't cook it myself. I wouldn't buy stuff to cook like steak, or I wouldn't buy ground beef to make meatballs for myself or something like that. That's just not, I don't like red meat like that. But I will eat it in a restaurant setting. Like I will get a burger. I will crave a burger from somewhere else, but I would never, it's not like an everyday food for me. But fish and like seafood and stuff, I love. Seafood with steamed veggies, best friend. I loved it so much. And when I was trying to get off of my like sugar addiction, which low-key I still like sugar, but like, you know, whatever, it's a lot better now. I would like try to incorporate sugar. Like I'll basically make like a general stir fry, like the tradition, like kind of like the basic American recipe for stir fry, like a hint of like brown sugar or something and other spices to my steamed veggies, and then I slowly got off of it. I remember for a period of time I didn't crave sugar. The more protein, I didn't even realize this, but like the more protein you ate, like I ate, the less I crave sugar. So I tried to increase my protein levels. Excuse me. And the more you increase your protein levels, especially with counting calories, you can have a lot of protein when it's seafood. So yeah, I would just recommend overall, if you're gonna do something, just take inventory of yourself and know that it's not going to change overnight, and then understand your mindset. Try to figure out why you're doing what you're doing. the when I was obsessive over looking like the societal standard, I could never lose weight. I kid you not, it was impossible. When I was like, I want to stop feeling bad about myself, like I just want to feel a little bit better. And when I look in the mirror, I just want to like be healthy. Literally, my family has so many, like my family side, my dad's side of family has so many like underlying issues with like diabetes. My mom's side too, like high blood pressure and all that stuff relates to diet. So I was like, oh my goodness, we cannot have these issues. We just make a change, because again, remember, you're not your environment. You are a versatile person. You're allowed to be different. I know this video has probably gone on so long, and I hope those photos, I put them up properly. But yeah, I finally got to weight I'm more than comfortable with, well within my BMI, and I do plan on losing more weight. It's not like I'm like really gunning for it, but like if it happens, I'm welcoming it, and then like probably like try to tone more. But I'm just saying that to say it. I'm probably just gonna do cardio. Cardio is my favorite thing ever. I hate what's it called, lifting weights and stuff, but cardio is like the best for me because it makes me feel better. So yeah, that's all for this. I hope I didn't talk in circles, because I tend to do that and I go off tangents a lot, if you probably noticed in this video. So there's probably going to be a lot of cuts, jump cuts, but yeah, that is pretty much it for this video. I hope you guys like, comment, subscribe, and I hope I helped like one person, because I remember watching these videos and it literally improved my mental state and it made me feel like I could do it. You can do it too. I believe in you. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.